Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wasatch Reading Club. I'm glad you're here today. I want to talk about something that is really bothering some parents, and that's their kids rereading the same book or series over and over again. So hang with me, we'll talk about this.
We are forever learning, one step at a time, as long as the world is turning.
All right, here it is. The big problem that parents are freaking about. Their kids are reading or rereading the same series, the same book over and over again. Is there anything wrong with that? Well, in my opinion, I think kids should be reading the same thing over and over again as much as they want. I'll tell you why. Reading the same thing over and over again, whether it's a book or a series of books or a series of manga or whatever the series is, comic books, it's practice. Kids reading and rereading the same thing over and over again is practice. They're interested in it. There are words that they're practicing over and over again. There are things that they're getting out of it every time that they're reading it. Maybe they really relate to the character. So it's okay that your kid, however old they are, is reading and rereading the same thing over and over again. Eventually, they'll move on. It's totally okay. Eventually, they'll get there. They'll move on to something that's bigger, something that's better, maybe something that you think is a better quality of a story, or maybe it's deeper or something. Anyway, so here are some things that the kids are getting out of the book that they're reading and rereading over and over again. They're getting character development. They're watching the character change, make decisions. Maybe they relate to the character. They compare your kid, the child, is comparing themselves to the character that they're reading about. And they're thinking, am I like this character or am I different from this character? Would I do the same thing that this character is doing, or is this something different? So the self-comparison is great. They're learning about other people, other people's motivations. It's a good thing. They're learning about conflict and the resolution of the conflict. If the character that they're reading about has a problem, they're watching the character as they're making decisions through the story. Now, obviously, the character doesn't change the outcome. The problem that they're facing does not change, but we can see the character and their process as they make decisions. Your kid gets to see the story beginning to ending. They get to watch the whole thing happen. And the more that they practice, the more that they see the steps of how the story takes place. And I think the best thing of all, practicing reading and rereading the same book or series over and over again, is word recognition. Every time they read that story or that book or that series of books, they're ingraining in their mind what words mean. Now that might seem like it's not possible, or maybe it's not that big of a deal. But the more words that we have in our vocabulary, the better we are at communicating with other people. They're practicing understanding, and they're learning, and if they don't understand, they want to find out what it means so that it makes more sense. So they'll go and look up the word, or they'll ask, what does this word mean? So practicing reading is good. Practicing so that they understand is good. Once they realize that this story is boring, or maybe they've read it too many times, or they're done with the story, they'll move on to something else. Maybe it's the same author, maybe it's a new book, maybe it's a new book in a series, maybe it's a new series. But your child has figured out how to choose the type of thing that they like to read based on how difficult it is. If they don't recognize the words, or if their content is not interesting to them, they won't read it. If it's not interesting to them, they just won't pick it up. They'll try. They might start. They'll get a page or two through it, but if they don't care, they won't read it. And that's okay. They choose stories based on how deep they are and how they connect to the character. So if it's something that they're really interested in, or if it's a character that they like, or maybe it's the same character from another story in another set of stories, they know the character, and they're looking for more connection with that character and what they relate to that character with. Not everyone gets the same thing out of the books that we read. Some people really like a certain type of book, and that's okay. They get something out of that book. Just because you like a book or a story or a character does not mean that your kids are going to, and that's okay. They need to like what they like. They need to discover what they like, and letting them read and practice over and over again is okay. When a toddler is learning how to walk, they got to do the same thing over and over again. They've got to fall over and over again until they figure out the muscle memory. They figure out their legs. They figure out their balance. They figure out how it works. And that's okay. Everything that we learn, it's okay to practice over and over again. If you're learning a new language, you've got to practice it over and over again. There's nothing wrong with reading the same book over and over again. I hope that gives you some relief. I hope that gives you some breathing space. I hope that calms you down maybe a little bit. It's okay to let your kid read something over and over again. Definitely take them to the library. Definitely go to the bookstore. Give them opportunities to find other books, other series of books. Maybe show them, hey, if you like this book, maybe you would like this one too. Give them the opportunity to explore and develop and move on to other things. But it's okay if they read the same thing over and over again. Eventually, they'll move on. Eventually, they'll grow up. Eventually, their interests will change. And that's okay. I hope that information was helpful to you. If you like this video, if it was good, if you want to like it, show me that you liked it, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if this is something that's valuable to you. If you have questions about reading, leave them in the comments. I would love to talk with you about what you're finding with your kids and what they're reading and maybe what you're reading. If you have questions about how to help them with reading, I would love to figure out. Maybe I have an answer, maybe I don't. Maybe somebody else in the comments will help you out. Anyway, thanks for stopping by today. Thanks for visiting the Wasatch Reading Club. Have a great day.